Is your track record for following through on the things that motivate you kind of low? Have you ever wanted to start a new business, learn a new skill, but don't really know where to start? The answer to all of these questions is something that we seldom build healthy habits around. But it's one skill that's extremely essential to living a life that includes financial freedom, self-love, fulfilling promises that you have for yourself, and achieving goals that are meant for you. Today, we're going to talk about the art of discipline. We're going to get my handy dandy laptop and we're going to see what Google has to say about discipline. Google says that discipline is the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. If that's the goal of discipline, it's extremely easy to lack that follow through, to lack that next step after motivation to keep going if we're constantly given the ultimatum of obey or get reprimanded. Like, that's a really insane ultimatum, and I feel like we shouldn't and wouldn't live a life that is disciplined if this was the ultimatum for everyone. One of my first interactions with discipline was as a kid. I had a chore, as many of us do. My chore specifically was to wash the dishes. Let me tell you guys, let my mom tell you guys, I hated doing the dishes. It was one of the worst chores. I dreaded the end of the day because I knew that that was a requirement for me. And what the reprimanding end of me learning that disciplinary act was possibly losing my monthly allowance, which that's how I got to shop and, hang out with my friends and join clubs and pay for all the things that came with the life that I wanted to live as a high school student. That obey or reprimand cycle is something that I've actually also adapted as to what discipline is. But I think it robs us of the beauty that a disciplined life can really bring, keeping promises to ourselves and seeing things come into fruition that we may have once seen as impossible, choosing self-progression over self-sabotage, financial freedom, mental fortitude. All of these are achieved through committing to living disciplined. In the analogy given before, when I decided to not do my chore of doing the dishes, I costed myself much more time in the long run because I decided in that moment my desire to not do something was much bigger than my desire to have a better future for myself a month from now when I'm able to hang out with my friends and I have the money to do so. If I just was committed and consistent to doing the dishes and seeing me doing the dishes as the steps it takes to achieve what it is that I was looking for, it would have been a much easier process and I would have had a higher probability of staying committed to being disciplined. And if you've ever said to yourself that you aren't good at the art of discipline, here's what research states are key ways to achieve the things that are for you. So, step number 1, defining your goal process. What happens is with motivation, it slowly dwindles. But what actually helps to propel you towards that accomplishment is discipline. With that in mind, identify what goals it is that you want to achieve. Write those goals out. Leave space under each goal to kind of write out the different things required to then achieve the goal in itself, right? Make sure that they're actionable, make sure that they're doable, and set them up in a way that works for you. Weekly goal setting, daily goal setting, 3 goals a day, monthly, yearly, whatever it is. The point is to build your tenacity to see that goals aren't always the end goal. It's the journey. It's the little steps that take you to where you're wanting to be that are actually more important. They take up more of your time. Define your goal setting process. Step number 2 is minimizing your interaction with temptation. We all have different things that maybe hold us back or make it harder for us to commit to things, whether that's social media, whether that's the media you consume, whether that's video games, whatever it is, identifying what your temptations are allows for you to then implement the boundaries with yourself, which is an act of self-love that assists in delaying gratification. Temptations and the world that we live in is all about instant gratification. That's all we know, that's all we do. But discipline is the antithesis of instant gratification. As a disciplined person in a disciplined life, you're not going to get gratification just for doing. You're not. That's just not how it works. That's not how goal achieving works. Reworking the mindset you have around your temptations is one way to really help you build healthy habits towards self-control and self-discipline. Our third and final step, listen. If you are setting goals, achieving them, minimizing your relationship with your temptations, you're setting the boundaries with yourself, but once you get to that point where your life is changing, everything is going your way, and you stop doing the things that got you to where you are, you stop being as disciplined as you once were, in this maintenance phase that you've now entered, you begin to revert. If you constantly find yourself doing all the work to achieve the goal, and then once the goal is achieved, you no longer have interest in maintaining what it is that you have created for yourself, see those feelings as a triumph. When you start feeling those feelings, that means you're uncomfortable. That means you have successfully gotten to that point where you're like, okay, my goal is accomplished. And the only way to then begin to set a new goal is to keep going. How fucking beautiful is that? And once you get past that mental hurdle, once you get past that mental hurdle and you just go forth with the tenacity that you've built all on that journey, you will notice that you're able to keep going. And I would say, reward yourself. Do something to show yourself grace and love and appreciation for all it is that you are doing to build a better future for you, for your loved ones. That is what discipline can do. So what Google missed in its definition, discipline is an act of commitment to self-improvement despite instant gratification. I adopted the obey or reprimand mentality around discipline, which made it extremely hard for me to understand how important a disciplined life is to living the life that you desire. I spent this whole year really learning and understanding and dissecting my relationship with discipline, and I hope that anything that I've shared in this video can really impact your relationship with discipline, your relationship with yourself. And if it does, please feel free to share this with anyone you feel would love to hear this message. I wish for you to have the most amazing week, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay blessed, stay up, and girl, choose a disciplined life because that's really where the love is at, okay? Mwah. Thank you.